Ladies, I am Lisa Dahl, and I am here today with Jenn Mack, who has been a recent participant in my Body, Peace, and Food Freedom program. And she's going to be sharing her experience and how she really noticed by going through the program that she no longer has that good food, bad food mentality and less stress and judgment over her food choices. And her second biggest win has really been about checking in with herself and asking, what she needs versus the shoulds of what she should be doing, and learning to connect her mind, her body with her food. And with that, I'm going to get started, and you're going to really hear about Jenn's experience in her own words. So welcome. And Jenn, thank you so much for coming and being willing to share your experience, because I know when we're talking about our relationship to food and body image, that it's something that many of us want to keep private, and it's a hard topic. And just the fact that you are here and willing to talk is such a sign of your success and progress. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, it's made such a difference. I'm excited to talk about it.
Awesome. So to begin with, it would be really helpful if you would share what was the biggest problem, struggle, or challenge that you had prior to us working together and Body, Peace, and Food Freedom?
God, there's a couple, but one of the biggest ones was probably just all that judgment and kind of negativity around eating, no matter what it was. Like it kind of dominated everything else during the day. You're constantly thinking about, what can I eat? What should I eat? And it wasn't enjoyable anymore. You have something that tastes really good, but you feel wicked guilty. So it was changing my whole mindset around that. And, that's not something easy to do, but I really found the program, working with you and learning all these things about what we've been taught about food and how to look at ourselves, isn't the healthiest way to actually view your reality.
Yeah, dieting is the life thief. It steals our time, our money, and our energy. And it sounds like you have been able to start to reclaim a lot of that. And notice when that diet culture can suck you back in, that you now have the skills to kind of question it and say, I'm not going down that rabbit hole again.
It's really neat being able to recognize it, because throughout the course learning about it, I kept thinking oh my gosh, I fall for it every day and so many different ways that it's really, I thought I'd never get on top of actually catching kind of the manipulation, and it a lot of learning about it and practicing it to finally now I find I can pretty quickly catch, oh, that's one of those shoulds. Do I really need to do that? Or what does my body want? Not, what is somebody else telling me?
It's sneaky. And we
really
don't
sneaky.
even know it. We have been so accustomed that we think it's normal, that it has taken a lot of time and effort to understand and to see it. And it can be done.
Yeah. It's really great.
Awesome. So why did you choose Body, Peace, and Food Freedom over all the other programs, all the other coaches? I know that you have a big circle of connections and women. What made Body, Peace, and Food Freedom something that you chose versus all those other things?
Well, for my whole life, there's, dieting's been part of my life. So I feel like I've tried a lot of things out there. And I've always thought about, I don't know, dieting was always just part of everything, and it never really made me feel good. You might for a little while, but you have these kind of unrealistic expectations. And when I met you and learning about the things that you were teaching, it just made sense. I want to be healthy, but it wasn't just about my body. It was, I want to be healthy with what I'm doing overall. How does my body feel? How does my mind feel about it? I just feel like sometimes, you may lose weight, but then you think you're going to be happy then. And it's rarely the case. I mean, yes, of course you can be happy either way, but I'm finding now, like, if I'm listening to my body and having what feels good to me and knowing that I'm taking care of my body in the best possible way for my body, I just feel more at peace.
Because it's not about the body weight, that all of these things that we're talking about are how you relate to food, how you relate to your body, and making those connections. And that you have really learned that you can be comfortable in your own skin, no matter what size you are in. And, you mentioned, it's like we go into that diet trap because we're taught that that diet keeps us safe. If we follow all the rules, then we can do our thing. And then when we're off the diet, we feel out of control. And what you have learned is that you can be the expert on yourself and you're no longer in control or out of control, that you can just be, and it frees up so much time, space, and energy.
It really does. Yeah. Cause I used to, get it in my head. I wanted to lose however many pounds. And then I would just dread starting something because I know it consumes you. Like, okay, I ate breakfast. How much longer till I can have a snack? Or what can I have for a snack? And it's just constant all day because you're hungry, because you're probably not eating enough. And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of freeing. And I mean, living in a society that really is dominated by diets and how you look and this and that. I mean, it's constantly coming at you. So it's nice to know that I have some defenses now. You know what I mean? That I can catch myself.
Yeah.
Thinking about what really matters. When I start judging myself or it's a lot of the old habits keep popping up, like, beating yourself up for having something. It's like, no, I don't need to do this anymore. Like, that's not what I want my life to be. Mm-hmm.
Giving yourself permission changes your relationship with everything, and it reduces and gets rid of that guilt and the shame. And, you even talked about, like getting ready for that next diet and, eating the things because you're not going to eat them, because all of a sudden at midnight, you're no longer going to have them. And now you have the freedom. There are no good foods, bad foods. You get to eat foods based on what makes you feel good. If you had to kind of say, what would be the biggest wins out of, like, we're talking about all these things that you're noticing. What are the top few things that is your biggest takeaway from this, body, peace, and food freedom and working together?
One thing I know that you had said throughout, how by removing those restrictions on yourself, like, everybody gets afraid that you're just going to go nuts and eat all the whatever, whether it's chocolate or chips or whatever it may be. And I totally was like, yeah, that's totally going to happen. And you were like, I'm telling you, if you can try to work with your body and remove those restrictions. So I remember finally just letting myself have what I wanted. And I was like, I didn't want as much as I thought I did. And it was so strange to me because I 100% thought that I would just go crazy and overboard. But I found, because I had the permission that if I wanted a little more later, I could have it, but I didn't have to have it all now because I wouldn't have it again. It just freed me to enjoy a smaller portion that satisfied me. Like, it was really eye-opening because I really didn't think that would happen.
And I hear you, because I remember when I first started to coach on the practice of intuitive eating, and, and I have gone through this, my own personal experience. And I remember being so scared telling somebody, you have permission to eat. And, I read all the books and I went through it myself. And it's still, it was still really scary telling my very first client, you have permission to eat, and this is the way that it's going to end up. And I hear your fear because it's real. And every one of you that I have worked with that is willing to go through that exercise and to really put that practice it's just so mind-boggling, the freedom that you get with permission, because it feels so out of control. And it's kind of like when you have kids, it's like when they are allowed to do things and we don't clamp the rules down, they just naturally fall into a space that works. Like, moderation naturally comes into the game. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing with food. And it just defies all of that diet rhetoric because we are told we need these things to do it. Otherwise, they're counting on you to be out of control. And you're
Right.
not. That's how,
Well,
and yeah.
yeah. And the nice thing that I found too is like, if I did, you know, finish the pint of ice cream or something, whatever, I was more aware of, I either consciously decided to do it, or if I did it and then afterwards was like, oh, I don't either remember eating that, or I was watching TV and like not really focusing on what I was eating, but I was able to reflect on it and change moving forward rather than just being like, oh, I ate that, I don't even remember it, you know, and start berating myself about it. You know,
It's
just having those noticings everywhere, whether you know, eat more than you wanted to or something, you know, but you can constantly, it's like every time is a reset. You can learn from what you did and keep growing.
it's a reset. Every eating opportunity is every eating opportunity or experience is the opportunity to notice, to create that awareness. And moving from judgment to curiosity changes the whole recap and the dialogue that you have in your head and the self-compassion that you have learned to be able to offer yourself. And all of
That
those
was hard.
skills, it is hard.
It
And
is.
you noticed it can be done because you are one of the most compassionate people I know. I mean, you help, you are just so eager and willing to help everyone that you touch. And you have learned to be able to bring that kindness and compassion back to yourself.
And it was really neat too, because you know how sometimes you can feel out of control with eating. Like some people will snack late at night, or some people will go overboard with one thing or another. But by doing that, I don't know, I felt like I just lost my train of thought. Totally lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
What did you just say? I know you had just said something that made me think. Um, oh, I know. Okay, so when I would reflect on, like, say I wanted something to eat, I might be like, all right, do I really want something to eat? Is this really what I need? And a lot of times when I really thought about it, I wasn't actually hungry. Like I either wanted comfort, or I was actually really thirsty, or I was bored and that's what I was turning to. But when I actually stopped to think about it, I realized these things. And sometimes I realized, yeah, I'm really hungry. What's going to make me feel good? And then I could focus on that rather than just grabbing something and not thinking about it. That really changed a lot.
The awareness is where your power is. And all of these things that we're talking about, it's not about the food. It's not about the ice cream. It's not about the cookies. It's not about the calories. It is all about your relationship on how you are viewing what is happening and really going back to being that expert on yourself. Mm-hmm. How do you feel that your life has changed? Like what, if you think about where you were, you know, X months ago, what is the things that you notice on how your life has changed?
It's definitely a lot more enjoyable, especially around food, like especially in the, you know, in the summer, certain things are out, or in the fall, certain things are out. And it used to kind of be like, oh no, you know, like apple pie season's coming, I'm totally going to lose it, you know, it just, but now it's like, it's good, enjoy it. You don't need to eat a whole pie. You could have a piece and, you know, be good and have another one another time if you want. But it just feels much freer and definitely more enjoyable, because I mean, of the way even I just talk to myself about what I'm doing, you know.
It's really made a difference. And you
Yeah.
know, and it's work. It's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
And it is about time, patience, practice, and compassion. And you know, it's putting
true.
those mix together is the formula on how to make those changes.
It's
so
funny because even during the whole, sorry, I was
that's
just
okay. No,
during the
tell
whole
me.
course, I mean, I kept thinking like, is this really working for me? Am I really changing my mindset? But I just kept sticking with it, and then before I knew it, just, you know, doing the practicing with it, or noticing even once in the next week that I did something. Now it just comes, but it really takes time, and it does take some work to put it, but it's so worth it if you're ready to really feel better.
It becomes the new normal.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
and it just, it's not the fix, it's about healing.
Yeah.
So it's not that we, all of a sudden you wake up and, that's why I use the word, it's a practice. We are constantly and continuously practicing intuitive eating, mindful eating, being kind, being curious, creating that awareness. And listening to you, those are all those things that keep popping up in what you are doing every day. So thank you so much for sharing your experience. And if you could share one thought on what you would want to say to another woman who is, stuck in diet culture, thinking about going on another diet, what would you like to say to that woman? What would have helped you? What words come to mind?
That's really hard because I do know a lot of people that are still kind of stuck in that. And I'm always kind of struggling with how to help, because I know people's first reaction sometimes is like, what, you want me to buy something, or you want me to, and I'm like, it has nothing to do with that. I just know that when you're ready to put in the work, it's totally worth it. It's hard because if they're not ready yet, sometimes you just have to be there with them in it until they're ready to like, I don't know, I feel like you need to become a partner with yourself. For so long you've been kind of against yourself, berating yourself, things like that. But now it's like, when you're ready to really partner with yourself and with your body, this is totally worth it.
Yeah, it's learning that it's trusting that you can actually learn how to listen, trust, and respect your body, and that it's a leap of faith. And what you have been doing has left you feeling so horrible that trying something different can really make the difference.
Absolutely.
So thank you. And
Thank
if
you.
you are a woman who is watching and have any questions, I would love to invite you to come into my space. Body, Peace, and Food Freedom is all about community, connection, support, and education. And I invite you to click the link and schedule your call. So thank you so much for watching. And Jen, I am so grateful for you and being part of my community and being willing to share your story, because I know a year ago, if I had said, could you share your story, it would have been just beyond,
not quite there.
not there. And it just has made such a difference. So thank you.
Thank you so much.